Well, good morning and welcome to Friday on 10 with Tom. If I look a little tired this morning, it's because I am. It was a long day yesterday and a long night last night. Be praying for Deb. She is in the hospital. Last night she wasn't feeling good, so we took her to the ER, and we were in the ER until 2:15 in the morning, and then we transferred her to a hospital downtown, and finally got her to a room at 3 o'clock this morning. So we're a little tired. She's going to be fine, but they're checking her for some things, and so just pray for her and pray that I get a little bit of sleep this weekend. So wanted to let you know that right up front. Secondly, a little bit of news for you today, and this is the first thing we can begin to share about hopefully what's coming ahead. A lot of people are asking, when are we going to get started again? The real question is, or the real answer is, we don't know yet. But we do know this. The first thing that we're going to focus on as youth, once we get started again, is the return of Sunday morning Bible study during our services. And so in order for that to happen, we actually have to have services where people are able to show up and not just the services online. And so the key words to be listening for are, we are beginning phase 2. When the state moves into phase 2, we will be gathering back again in church, and so it won't be more than 2 weeks after that announcement that we'll be back in worship, and we will have Sunday school at both services, both at 9 and 11, so you can join us for Youth Bible Study. That'll be the first thing that gets rolling. So we want to throw that out there and let you know, and so hopefully we'll be hearing that Phase 2 announcement soon, but be listening for that, and then we'll start to move forward, and we'll have some further updates hopefully next week, but wanted to get that out to you today. Now, looking at devotions for this morning, I look at a bunch of different devotionals, but this one is aimed toward guys, and it starts off kind of interesting, where it says that our culture's notion of adolescence extending through a man's 20s and even into their 30s is a relatively new development. It used to be, when you became a man as a teenager, and particularly late teenager, you were starting to take over a business, a trade. You were starting to raise a family. A lot of our parents or grandparents, particularly, were getting married around the age of 18, 19, 20, 21. And we didn't see a lot of people staying at home, living at home into their late 20s, early 30s, until fairly recently. Now, the young men of generations past would probably be appalled at somebody in their 30s who's still living at home and playing video games and just relaxing and allowing the family to bring all his food. They would be shocked at how common that has become in our culture. Because if you look back, in the first century, the leader of one of the largest and most important churches in the whole world was a young man named Timothy. And 2 Timothy is one of the letters that Paul wrote to Timothy. And the words that he writes to Timothy still apply to all of us today. And so we want to look at a verse in 2 Timothy. It's chapter 2, verse 22. And a friend of mine used to refer to this as 2D22. 2 Timothy 2:22, and it goes like this: flee the evil desires of youth and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. Two things there. First of all, flee the evil desires of youth. Now, what are some of those evil desires? Maybe it's lust that leads us astray. Or maybe it's just a general inclination to be lazy and to try and get out of as much work as we can. And I'm sure there are some other things that we can think of that we do when we're young. But it says to flee those evil desires of youth and instead pursue the following. Pursue righteousness. Pursue faith. Pursue love. Pursue peace. So don't just flee and then sit down and rest, but flee and pursue. So run away from the things that are bad and run to the things of God. And so that's what he's telling Timothy to do. And when we, like Timothy, step out in our faith and run from the things of the world that are evil and run towards God, we see amazing things happen. Now, when this whole pandemic started, I honestly thought we were going to have some time off, some time to rest, some time to take it easy. I was kind of falling into that lazy mode. I want to take some time off. Truth is, that hasn't happened at all. It's been over 40 days since I had a day off, which has, I don't think, ever happened in all the years I've been doing ministry. But it seems like there's things that need to be done every single day. And so that's a good thing, though, because it's not allowing me to get lazy, all right, and to take a whole lot of time off. But I had a friend send me a list of things that she and some of her friends found that they were doing during this time where they had time off. And so instead of trying to, pursue or, do things that are just going to be lazy, it's like, how can I build myself up? How can I encourage others? And listen to some of these things they came up with. Learning to hear God speak to them in another language, which means they're learning another language during this time. Taking the time to be quiet before God. And one of them said, hearing Jesus call my name. Falling in love with God's Word. Just spending so much time in it and realizing the truth that's in there and having that soak into their lives and just falling in love with it. Rediscovering the violin. They had played an instrument for a while. Put it down. Well, now they're playing it again. Celebrating the graduation of friends online. When graduations are held at a school, we normally don't get to see friends graduate unless they happen to be at our school. But now you can watch friends from all, your friends from camp who are at all kind of different schools. You can watch them all graduate. That's a cool thing. Learning new music. If you play the pianos, learning some new songs. Taking some time to rest. Now, not just to be lazy, but to actually get some rest. Being outside. Hearing somebody say, you're valuable, and what you do is valuable. And I think I've heard that a whole lot over these past few weeks as we're validating what people do. Connecting with neighbors. Some people are connecting with neighbors they've never met before. That's a cool thing. Spending more time with their dads, because their dads may not be working as much as they were, and so they're getting some more time to spend with their dads. Or just spending time with their family in general. Learning a new skill, and then teaching that skill to other people. Great way to build yourself up. Having uninterrupted time at home with family, where you're not just constantly running in and out and running past each other, but now actually having time to communicate. One person said they formed a Bible study with people that they had met in an online discussion group about a reality TV show. And so they've developed a friendship, and now they're starting to share their faith to each other. Somebody else said they're doing yoga. Somebody said they're taking the time to write letters, not just send emails or text messages, but they're writing letters to people, which is something new to them. Others are starting to do gardening or baking. Some people are now biking. I see more bikes in our neighborhood than I've ever seen before. So there are so many positive ways that we can use this time. So don't just flee evil, but pursue righteousness and pursue things that are going to build your life up. That's important. One of the things that I've been doing with this time is trying to eliminate the clutter of emails. I've always been bad that when I go away to camp or I go away on a mission trip or whatever, when I come back there's hundreds of emails, and rather than just going through and getting rid of them, I just look at the list real quick, highlight the ones that I need to deal with them, and then just let the rest sit in my inbox. And at one point, I had over 30,000 emails in my inbox. Well, now I'm going through and I'm cutting those down, and I've got it under 2,000, and I'm really getting close to the goal of getting it cleaned up. But I'm finding some gems. This was from 2009. Had some quotes from a friend. One of them says that more often than not, when someone is telling me a story, all I can think about is that I can't wait for them to finish so that I can tell my own story that's not only better, but it also more directly involves me. Maybe not the best, but how many of us have done that? Somebody's telling us something and we're thinking about something else. Another one, I totally take back all those times I didn't want to nap when I was younger. Yeah, me too. So there's a lot of things we can be doing. So find some positive things to do today. and over these next couple of weeks, and let's keep plowing forward. I love you guys, and have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on 10 with Tom.